Hello, my name is John Bannon. I'm an attorney and philosopher. In this video, I'm going to go over how superdeterminism is supported by the photon. Dr. Hansen is a Swedish theoretical physicist who proved his version of superdeterminism, which says that we live in a predetermined static block universe without cause and effect in physics. You can find his proof in the peer-reviewed physics journal, Physics Essays, Volume 33, Number 2, June of 2020. The photon is another name for light. Light is a massless particle that does not experience time from its perspective. All interactions and events involving the photon are in a single instantaneous moment from the photon's perspective. Because of the laws of physics regarding special relativity, the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower your time gets as observed from somebody else. So as you approach the speed of light, your time gets slower and slower and slower to the point where once you're at the speed of light, time stops. And because photons travel at the speed of light, then they do not experience time. So time has completely stopped for a photon. This means that when a photon is emitted, like turning on a flashlight, it already has all its subsequent interactions or events contained within its now time. And that's because once a photon is emitted, and let's say it is involved in subsequent interactions or events that involve the photon until the photon eventually disappears, is annihilated or absorbed, because the photon itself doesn't experience time, then all of those events or interactions occur in a single instant from the photon's perspective. Um, so, for example, let's take a a burglar in a museum at night. The burglar brings his flashlight and he turns it on and points it at a painting on the wall that he wants to steal. And the light emits from the flashlight, travels to the wall, hits the painting. The light reflects off the painting and comes back to the burglar's eyes and hits his retina so that the burglar can see the painting that he wants to steal. Now, all those subsequent interactions involving the photon, that is, it hits the painting on the wall, reflects back, and hits the burglar's retina. All of those things are within the photon's instantaneous now moment. Even though these events occur in time for an observer, if we were watching the burglar, for us, it would take time for the light to leave the flashlight, hit the painting, reflect back off the painting, and hit the burglar in his eye so that he can see the painting. It takes time for that to happen. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take time, measurable time for that to happen. But for the photon, all those things happen instantaneously. So, in a very real sense, when the photon is first emitted from the flashlight, it already has its instantaneous now moment that contains all the subsequent interactions that it's involved in, or events that it's involved in. And that's because all those events and interactions have to be within an instant now. So there's not a time during the course of the photon's travel where the photon becomes aware of these interactions and events from the photon's perspective because the photon doesn't experience time. So the moment the photon leaves the flashlight, all those interactions and events already are in the photon's uh, now moment or instantaneous now. Well, this presents an amazing thing. And what that means is that the events or interactions that the photon experiences all exist at the moment the flashlight is turned on. But for you, those subsequent interactions or events occur later in time, which means your future events um, or your observations of future events or interactions involving light that occur subsequently must already be predetermined because they already exist in the photon when it is first released. So your future has to be predetermined. It already exists because it already exists in the photon as it leaves. It doesn't exist for you, but it does exist in your predetermined future because otherwise the photon wouldn't already have it. That means that uh, we live in a predetermined universe where your future already exists. Um, and in addition, because photons don't experience time, then they cannot cause anything because causation requires time. A cause has to be before an effect, but that temporal sequence assumes a temporal duration of time. Since a photon doesn't have a temporal duration of time, it has just one instantaneous moment, then a photon can't cause anything. Well, that means that any interaction or event a photon is involved in, it can't actually cause any of that, which means those things have to be um, predetermined and without cause and effect in physics. So that supports Dr. Hanson's version of superdeterminism, that we live in a predetermined static block universe without cause and effect in physics. Um, well, I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. I'll give you a moment to read the board. So just remember that superdeterminism is true. We do live in a predetermined static block universe without cause and effect in physics. And the photon proves it. Take care.